Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, we got hints that this case is damn close to over, and we might be smelling an IPO cooking for Ripple too. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.21 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 2.3%. Good morning, everybody. 27,900 plus for Bitcoin, 1,900 slightly over for Ethereum, and an $83.2 billion market cap for USD Tether. 48 cents for XRP. We're up 1.6 in the 24-hour and 4% on the 7-day. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the debt ceiling, but before we do, I want to showcase here for a second my sponsor, Glint, where you can buy, save, send, and spend real gold instantly with Glint, which is a MasterCard debit card. This is the alternative to the banking system. I tell you what, once you get it and you start using it, you own physically allocated gold in your name, insured by Lloyd's of London. I tell you, click the link underneath. It is a good feeling to have an alternative to the banking system. Shout out to Glint. This here from Meta Lawman, shout out to him. He tells us all here, breaking Congress releases language of the debt ceiling bill. And if this passes, the debt ceiling will be suspended until January 1st, 2025. There's also been talk, as a side note, that the 30% crypto tax increase that was being suggested and recommended by the administration has been cut out of this as well. We'll see. It's not done yet, right? That's how we know. So, but nevertheless here, what is interesting is on January 2nd, 2025, a new debt ceiling would be established in the amount of $31.4 trillion. Current debt limit, plus the total amount of new government obligations outstanding as of January 2nd, 2025. The Treasury will presumably issue bonds in the weeks leading up to January 2nd, 2025 to have cash on hand to run the government for some period of time. But there's not supposed to be an orgy of new bond issuance leading up to January 2nd, 2025. The bill says that Treasury may not issue debt to increase the cash balance above normal operating balances in anticipation of the expiration of such period of suspension of the debt limit. Now that is suggesting we're not going to give you the same way out that you've been using for decades. We'll see. This right here is a clip from Good Morning Crypto. Shout out to Johnny and Abs here and Gonzo and everybody else on the show there. And they have Linda P. Jones talking about where we're at in this crypto space moment. And crypto is the next internet boom. Listen to this right here.
One thing that is right, almost exact, is how the media is bad-mouthing the new technology. But back in the day, when the internet was first coming into being, they talked about it being for porn and how it was, for criminals and how they were going to steal your credit cards if you tried to do any transactions on the internet and how you could it would never be safe.
Now, the good news is we are here, as we say all the time, we're here so early in this space that I know it feels like we're late because we're sitting here waiting. We are in a fundamental shift of technology from Web 2.0 to 3.0.
And he's absolutely right. And so is Linda P. Jones on that one here. This is the greatest financial paradigm shift in the history of mankind. Don't believe it. It's still true. And we are on the heels of seeing some kind of decision from Judge Torres in the SEC versus Ripple. And it is getting very, very exciting, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt about it. And John Deaton reminds all of us, and the Ripple CTO agrees with him, Hinman emails are coming out even if the SEC settles with Ripple. And this has been something that's very interesting to me, and I've gotten a lot of responses from people about it as well. Because the judge has ruled that the Hinman documents are to be unsealed, It's always been a question of whether Ripple and the SEC could come up with a settlement and decide not to release them. But that is not the case, according to John Deaton and others, because the judges ordered those documents unsealed. That's exactly what they're going to be. And it is going to be something to see, I bet. This is a clip from XRP Las Vegas. Shout out to Fabio Velarde from Corium and Sologenic, and shout out to Nancy Beaton from Uphold. This is also a reminder as well that you can get private equity of Uphold on Link2, and they have an incredible special going on right now with Link $2. You better click the link to the sponsor and check it out. But what I want you to hear here is part of this where, and I'm going to fast forward a little bit, where she talks about how they determine and go through the process of what projects and tokens they will actually move forward with on Uphold. And then she addresses why they've never taken XRP down. I absolutely love it. Shout out to Nancy for this one.
Is it check all the boxes for security, not a security in our definition? Has it been audited? What do the founders look like? You know, where are the tokens going? How much does a team hold? And so we take probably about 30% to 40% of the tokens that come to us. Roughly 70% of the tokens that want to be listed don't hit all of the legitimate criteria we look for. And so when we find something like Solo, then once it's listed, then we'll start working with the team and we will start promoting it to our users. And our users are high into, you know, enterprise-based tokens, obviously XRP and all the community around that. And so it's really nice when we can find a token that meets all those great criteria and then we can list it.
So considering the scrutiny you're under, you know, Uphold is one of the few places that do not delist XRP. Can you speak a little bit about why that decision was made?
Great question, Molly Elmore.
Awesome. So, yeah, you know, I said before, we're highly regulated, so we do take compliance incredibly serious at Uphold. So we are, you know, FCA licensed in the UK. We have 44 plus MTL MSBs here in the US. We have licensing in Lithuania. You know, we take that very seriously. And so when we looked at what was happening, and you know, obviously there is a lawsuit out there, but when we look at that and work with our legal counsel, there is no legal precedent yet. And so for us, you know, it felt prudent to maintain listing the token. And you know, when there's legal precedent, we'll have to follow it. But right now, there is not legal precedent, and we feel comfortable listing the token.
There you have that. And I tell you, you know, it's hard to find people and companies that have that kind of strength. But you know what? They have, and shout out to Uphold for it. Make sure you click the link for them. They're also offering an early service of Uphold Vault, a new feature that is going to be amazing, and you can click the link for that underneath the video as well, by the way. So make sure you check it out. Now let's move to this. We've had conversations, ladies and gentlemen, about BRICS Coalition creating their own international reserve currency, which they are going to do. We've heard enough from them to know it. And we also know that there are multiple countries that are applying to join BRICS along with the members of the coalition already. Saudi Arabia has been doing this dance for a while now. We've been reporting on it ever since it started. Well, that dance is getting a little more serious. Somebody's going home with somebody. The development bank set up by BRICS bloc is negotiating with Saudi Arabia on accepting the country as a member. The talk comes as the bank, created as an alternative to similar institutions led by the West, seeks to expand its funding option amid sanctions on one of its founding shareholders, Russia. The Shanghai-based new development bank, known as NDB, established the BRICS nations Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is in talks with Saudi Arabia on admitting the country as a member. This is a big deal to me. I don't know about it to anybody else, but it is a very big deal to me because specifically Saudi Arabia elevates the global reserve currency status of the U.S. dollar with the petrodollar agreement. This looks like a coordinated effort because otherwise physical war usually breaks out when you see arrangements and agreements broken like this. So I can't help but feel like the U.S. is blessing these actions for some larger play that may be taking place. Again, I personally believe we're going to see these giant fractionalized payment zones created like BRICS and other areas and regions around the world. And ultimately, it will complement the use of a new bridge currency to complement the system and the dollars of the world like XRP. That's my speculation, and I'm sticking to it. And here is a question proposed by U.S. Treasury Undersecretary Nellie Liang, and I want you to hear what is said in this. Pretty interesting stuff when this gentleman responds to the idea of a central bank stablecoin, what it would take and what it's really like. And this guy equates it to just another evolution in payments.
When I started doing stablecoins and when all this innovation came about, I'll admit I did bank regulation for many, many years, but I didn't really know anything about the payment system. Pat Parkinson was the payment system guru at the board, and that was his area. And the rest of us dealt with credit risk, liquidity risk, stress testing, and so I read a bunch of stuff about payment systems and over the history of them, where they came from, the development. It was really fascinating, and how it came about. And it started in the late 50s into the 60s, and how it developed. And it struck me that this is just another form of, it's the same revolution we went through when they developed card payment systems and debit card payment systems. Exactly. It's just a different way to do payments. There's no reason why the banking system couldn't be involved, and and the way they developed over time, banks got together, they formed a group to create rules and oversights and protocols, and they developed computer systems and ran them. And somebody always gets paid when you transfer money from A to B. There's always somebody that gets paid there, right? It's never free. Payments cost money.
That's right.
And they'll have to figure out how to run that. The Bitcoin costs money, the Ethereum network costs money, you have to put in gas. It's not like the internet traded digital coins are free. If you want to use them, you got to pay somebody somewhere pays us to process them and use them. And
listen,
it just struck me that really we're just at this road, and this just makes a lot of sense. And why not have checking accounts that are digitally tokenized? And I'm surprised we haven't seen that yet, but maybe you have.
Well, interestingly enough, what we're about to see is the launch of FedNow in July. 1 month away, basically. And I tell you, we need to remember that Ripple is absolutely in the middle of all of this FedNow business. And I don't say that because I believe there'll be heavy use of XRP in FedNow. I say that because I understand that FedNow and Ripple, working with the U.S. Faster Payments Council, is using some of what their full stack is to complement the organization of FedNow and that new payment system to organize the domestic liquidity. Oh, we got things coming, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt about it. Just like this. Brad Garlinghouse likes the dimes to donuts. This thing is over tweet. We shared the Medico tweet that was the NASDAQ advertisement on the building, congratulating Ripple on their acquisition of Medico. Medico shared that. DAI retweeted it with the comment, and Brad Garlinghouse likes it. Well, we're getting a strong feeling that this is coming to a close, ladies and gentlemen. And I know that we all have been fighting for a very long time. And regardless of what this decision is, I do feel this much about it. We are going to get direction that we've never had. And maybe, just maybe, I got a feeling we're going to get clarity that we've never had. And just maybe, again, XRP may be the only one with it. What does the space look like if XRP becomes the only token with the level of legal clarity that no other one in the space of the 23+ thousand could match. What does that look like? Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.